Why did Manchester United's attacking system collapse, and how did Arsenal exploit every weakness? In this video, we will dive deep into how and why Manchester United's attacking system broke down. Let's analyze every movement, breakthrough, and substitution that turned the tide. Welcome to Cadro Sport. I tell you, Captain, today I witnessed one of the most spectacular and beautiful matches, even though the result did not reflect the performance at all. The match ended with a narrow 1-0 victory, but in truth, the performance far exceeded the scoreline. Today's match showcased distinct periods of excellence and clear strength, unlike what we saw in previous games. As we all know, Manchester United continues to make frequent changes, both at the managerial level and on the player front. But what now appears clear is that things are approaching a decisive point. Why? Let's begin. In the first half, Manchester United lined up with a 3 center-back formation: Lindelof, Matthijs de Ligt, and Luke Shaw on the left, while Diogo Dalot covered the right side. In midfield, the duo of Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes operated ahead of the trio of Mbeumo, Kunha, and Mount, with Mason Mount positioned up front. Arsenal, on the other hand, relied on a defensive setup composed of Gabriel, Saliba, and Clay, alongside Ben White. In midfield, Zubimendi and Declan Rice took their positions, with Odegaard ahead of them, and the attacking trio consisted of Martinelli, Saka, and Gyökeres. Notably, in the first half, Arsenal clearly implemented a multi-layered system. The purpose of this approach was to create spaces between the lines by distributing players across multiple layers. For instance, the goalkeeper advanced to be closer to the defenders, thereby widening the space between the 2 center-backs forming the first layer. The second layer consisted of Declan Rice and Zubimendi, while the third layer included Clay and Ben White on the same line. The final layer was a 4-player attacking unit in which Odegaard sometimes pushed forward and at other times dropped back to maintain balance and provide flexibility during transitions. We will explain this in more detail later. For Manchester United, Mason Mount operated on the front line to press alongside Mbeumo, while on the left side, Diogo dropped back whenever Arsenal shifted play toward that flank. When Arsenal reached the final third, they faced significant difficulties breaking through. On the other hand, Manchester United's attacking roles were evident through rapid transitions, whether via the goalkeeper toward the left flank or through the central channels, as well as exploiting numerical superiority on the right side. This forced Arsenal's players to drop back to support their defense, which allowed United to create space and switch play to the opposite flank, where Mbeumo was positioned. Mbeumo had several dangerous opportunities, thanks to his excellent ball reception, followed by individual dribbles combined with the movements of Kunha and the late-arriving Bruno Fernandes, in addition to Mount's support from behind. However, the problem was that Manchester United lacked a proper striker. Mason Mount was not a true centre-forward, but rather an attacking midfielder, which left him too far from the penalty area. As a result, Mbeumo often faced one-on-one situations, executing them brilliantly, but he needed an additional attacking partner to capitalize on these chances. The only players who attempted to support Mbeumo were Kunha and occasionally Bruno Fernandes, with his intelligent off-the-ball movements. Yet Mount's delay reduced their overall effectiveness. Here, the need to introduce Sasco from the first half became apparent, as Ruben Amorim's tactical ideas were very clear but lacked only a genuine striker to finish the attacks. The same pattern repeated on the left side through Diogo, whether via breakthroughs along the flank or delivering crosses. However, there was no forward player in depth to exploit these opportunities except for Mbeumo. Neither Bruno, Kunha, nor Mount managed to occupy ideal positions to finish the plays. The player who truly made a difference was Kunha. His movements were wide and flexible, occasionally swapping positions with Mount, advancing to the right to create space, then returning to exchange roles with Mbeumo centrally. This variation disrupted Arsenal's defensive lines, but it lacked the decisive element, the final touch. Kunha reached the penalty area multiple times, succeeding in dribbles and shots, but his attempts lacked sufficient power or accuracy. 2 specific instances in the first half reflected this. The first was a long run from midfield, and the second a dribble at the edge of the box, yet the goalkeeper managed to save his shot. On the other hand, with 4 Manchester United players consistently advancing, Mbeumo, Kunha, Mount, and Bruno, some defensive gaps emerged, particularly due to Mbeumo occasionally lacking support during high pressing. Despite this, United delivered a very organized and effective performance on Mbeumo's flank, with Kunha alongside him, creating significant problems for Arsenal's defense. Meanwhile, Mount's contributions were limited both in role and effort, so it cannot be said that he delivered what was expected of him, especially with Mbeumo remaining advanced and exploiting spaces, while Arsenal's players moved the ball easily. Arsenal's counterattacks became easier and faster whenever Manchester United lost possession. However, we consistently saw Jesus moving toward the right flank, Saka positioned wide, while Odegaard took responsibility for progressing the ball, with Declan Rice and Zubimendi naturally dropping back. Manchester United maintained a backline of 4 to 5 defenders, which allowed Ruben Amorim to successfully close spaces and restrict Arsenal's players from creating opportunities. In counterattacks, Arsenal managed to reach the attacking third, not only through organized plays, but also via rapid transitions. Nevertheless, defensive cohesion and having 4 to 5 defenders at the back helped Manchester United avoid conceding goals from open play. However, Captain, what we witnessed in the first half was not convincing for the coaches. It revealed clear problems and gaps that need to be addressed. The main issues for Manchester United were the lack of numerical presence of attackers inside the penalty area resulted in weak finishing and limited offensive presence. There was also a lack of movement in midfield, particularly with Casemiro playing as an additional defender, without assuming the role of a linking player between defense and attack. Most importantly, there was minimal movement in the final third, which greatly reduced the team's attacking threat. Therefore, Ruben Amorim made decisive decisions regarding substitutions, introducing Amad Diallo on the left flank to play alongside Mbeumo, bringing in Benjamin Šeško as a true center forward inside the box, retaining Kunha and Diogo on the left wing, bringing back Bruno Fernandes and substituting Odegaard for Casemiro, maintaining the defensive trio of Luke Shaw, De Ligt, and Liniero. With these changes, the team became proactive instead of merely reactive, initiating attacks and imposing its character on the pitch. In conclusion, Captain, the result did not reflect the true performance. Arsenal demonstrated flexibility and offensive organization, while Manchester United delivered a tactically strong match despite finishing issues. With Amorim's decisions, the team shifted from reacting to actively imposing its attacking style. Thank you for watching, Captain.